بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم لا حول ولا قوة إلا بالله العلي العظيم الحمد لله رب العالمين وصلى الله على سيدنا ونبينا أبي القاسم المصطفى محمد وآله الطيبين الطاهرين اللهم أخرجني من ظلمات الوهم وأكرمني بنور الفهم اللهم افتح علينا أبواب رحمتك وانشر علينا خزائن علومك برحمتك يا أرحم الراحمين. We continue our discussion about resurrection, and inshallah this will be our last session on resurrection. After defining the concept of death and who would be receiving the soul, there is a discussion in the book about fear or yearning. There is no doubt that most of people have fear with respect to death. Even they don't want to think about it. They don't want to hear about death. They don't want to pass by a graveyard or cemetery. On the other hand, we find that some awliyaullah, some friends of God, some saints, they have yearning for death. So which one is correct? For example, Imam Ali alayhi salam in Sermon 5 of Nahjul Balagha says, Wallahi labnu Abi Talib anasu bil maut min at-tifl bi-thadyi ummih. By Allah, the son of Abu Talib is more acquainted with death than a child with breast of his mother. So a child, when it's hungry, thirsty, because both food and water for the child comes from mother. So a child, even for sleeping, if the mother carries the child, it's comfortable. But Imam says, I am more acquainted with, I have more ons. Ons means acquaintance, like a kind of very close relation. Ons. Anis is the one who gives you comfort by his company. We have in our invocations of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, Ya Anisa man la Anisa lah. Sometimes people have no one to give them acquaintance. Allah is their, acquaintance. So this is the meaning of ons. So Amir al-Mu'minin says he has this much of acquaintance with death, this much of familiarity and, yearning. Or Imam Hussein alayhi salam in his sermon before leaving Mecca, I think it was given in Mina. He says, خط الموت على ولد آدم مخط القلاد على جيد الفتاة. For the children of Adam, death is like necklace for women, young girls. They have from gold or jewelries as a decoration. They like it, as a beautification. Imam Hussein says, for the sons or children of Adam, for human beings, death is like that. Or Ali Akbar alayhi salam said, death is sweeter than honey. Ahla min al-asal. So which one is the right approach? To be frightened of death, to be yearning for death? Shall we ask Allah to, let us die as soon as possible? What should we do? This needs a comprehensive discussion. But briefly, you should investigate your emotions and feelings and find out what are the roots of fear. Sometimes people are afraid of death because they have not done anything for their akhirah. Imagine if you have two houses, one in city A, one in city B, and you have spent all your time and energy and resources on the house in city A. The house in city B you have abandoned. You have never been there. You have never looked after it. You have never spent on it. You don't know what condition it has. Is it good condition, bad condition? Maybe there is damp, leakage, everything is cut off, electricity, gas, telephone. Maybe neighbors have, I don't know, broken, glasses, whatever. You don't know the condition. But you have a nice house in city A, you live there, you work for it, you have taken all the necessary measures to protect it. You have made, garden, So for sure you don't want to leave this place and go to that place. Even if you know that you have a house there, but you don't know what's the condition. Many people are afraid of death because they have spent all their time and energy on dunya. They have not done anything for akhirah. So they don't want to leave dunya. They're attached to dunya. For some people, leaving dunya is as painful as being detached from the most, important things in your life. Imagine, for example, if I'm a scholar and I have spent tens of years on collecting notes and information and thoughts to produce a book. Now a thief wants to come and take this from me. And I think of all these years that I have worked on this, and this is the only copy that I have, and it's not yet published. How painful it is. But death is not only taking your book, at the same time taking your children from you, your parents from you, your community from you. Everything that you have is being taken away from you. So it's very painful if you don't have anything else to hope. But people who have been working for their akhirah and have been saving in their akhirah accounts, whatever they did here, they made sure that also they do it for akhirah, or at least they do something for dunya, something for akhirah. A mu'min, even worldly things that he does it for his akhirah. But at least half of it, part of it, he has put in akhirah as a saving. Now, the only worry that mu'min has is not because he's attached to dunya. Is he knows that his saving for akhirah is not enough. So some mu'mineen are worried about death, not because they are attached to dunya, because they are aware that it's very challenging situation to be present before Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, before all the prophets and imams, before people, and then you are questioned. And you feel you don't have enough, sufficient answer, you don't have enough provision. Amir al-Mu'minin alayhi salam says, min qillat al-zad wa bu'd al-safar wa wahshat al-tariq wa azim al-mawrid. My provision is very little, the journey is very long, I have to do it myself. No one can, come and take my burden. لا تزر وازرة وزر أخرى ليس للإنسان إلا ما سعى يوم يفر المرء. You run away even from your relatives, if of course you are not muttaqi. So mu'minin have not fear in the negative sense, they have worry, they have concerns, and therefore this concern is good because it makes you work for your akhirah. How can we test whether we have a positive worry or we have a negative worry or fear. Do you know how we can test? Because we can deceive ourselves. Maybe I'm attached to dunya, but I say, no, I'm not attached to dunya. I am worried about my akhirah. Have I done enough or not? How can I test?
It makes you struggle more.
One is to look at my way of life. Does my way of life show that I am doing something for akhirah, or I am not? I'm just accumulating money and this. This is one thing. The other thing, you can test yourself. If you are said that even if you live longer, you are not going to improve, indeed your situation becomes worse. Will you wish to die sooner or not? Yeah. You are told that definitely your situation akhirah is not going to improve, and the way you are acting is going to become worse. Tomorrow is worse than today, and the day after tomorrow worse than tomorrow. If you have been worried about akhirah, but you know that you are not going to improve and you are going to become better, worse, so you have to wish for your death. Imam Sajjad alayhi salam says, Ilahi, ammirni ma kana umri bidlatan fi ta'atik. Oh Allah, please prolong my life as long as my life is going to be spent for your obedience. فَإِذَا كَانَ مَرْتَعًا لِلشَّيْطَانِ. If my life is going to become marta, where you take your cattle to feed them, there are grass and other things. This is called marta. If my life has become a place for feeding shaitan, فَقْبِضْنِي قبل أن يسبق مقتك إلي أو يستحكم غضبك علي. Please take me away from this dunya before your anger is fixed on me. So if I know that by being here more I would add to my problems and not to improve, then I should wish to die sooner. So this is a test. Those who are attached to dunya, they don't bother whether the situation is going to become better or worse. They just want to be here. Even, if it is 1,000 years, they say, we want to be here 1,000 years. They don't have any worry about akhirah. Their only worry is about dunya. There's a funny story, which is maybe funny, but I think is meaningful, very meaningful. There was a person who was known to be very pious. We call mustajab ad-da'wah. Have you heard mustajab ad-da'wah? Means someone whose du'as are accepted by Allah. Allah answers to his du'as. It's called mustajab ad-da'wah. So there was a tyrant, king, ruler, said to him, please pray for me. He said, may Allah kill you. He said, I told you to pray for me, not to curse me. He said, I prayed for you. Because the sooner you died, the better for you and for people. So I really wanted good for you. This is the way he, of course, prayed for him. If I was in his place, maybe I would have asked, may Allah guide you. But if there was no chance for guidance, then maybe if his life was not used more for crimes, was better for him. Anyway, sometimes for some people to die sooner, it could be a blessing because you don't know what you are going to do if you live longer. Yeah, maybe in future I'm going to become much worse than what I am. So I should take this as a blessing if Allah knows my situation is going to become worse. Then there are people who are very close to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And they are so close to Allah and they have so much of love for Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala that they just miss him very badly. And they so much miss him that for them remaining in this dunya is very painful. They remain in dunya just because this is their duty. They have to be pleased with Allah's decision. But they feel in dunya like a prisoner. If you are in prison, you don't want to run from prison because it's illegal. You have to remain in the prison. It's illegal to run. But you count days for your release. Amir al-Mu'minin salam says in Khutbatul Muttaqeen, لَوْلَا الْآجَالُ الَّتِي كَتَبَ اللَّهُ عَلَيْهِمْ. Had it not been that their ajal is fixed, their deadline is fixed, لَن تَسْتَقِرَّ أَرْوَاحُهُمْ فِي أَجْسَادِهِمْ. Their souls would not remain in their bodies طَرْفَةَ عَيْنٍ, even for an eye's blink. شَوْقًا إِلَى الثَّوَابِ وَخَوْفًا مِنَ الْعِقَابِ. Because of the yearning that they have for heaven and meeting Allah, and for the fear that they have about hell. So they are just on the edge of dunya. If you are going to be released, where do you stay? Just next to the gate of the prison. You want to be as close as possible to the free world. So a mu'min doesn't go deep into dunya. A mu'min is on the surface of dunya, on the edge of dunya, just waiting for release, so that he can go back to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And when you have this approach, actually your life in dunya becomes much easier. Less stress, less worries, and even you can enjoy your dunya more. Yeah? How much a mu'min enjoys from looking at a flower. A mu'min looks at flower and it's energized. A person who is not mu'min may look at flower, enjoy, may not enjoy. Because the experience of mu'min is totally different. When you go to a garden, and you know that this garden is made by your father or grandfather, you enjoy more. A person who is not mu'min goes to nature and doesn't know who is the garden of this nature and whether there has been any garden or not, feels a stranger. But a mu'min goes to the nature and knows that this is made by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, which is closer to me than my father or grandfather. So it's different experience. Everything has a signature of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. If you go to your father's home, and your father has passed away, may Allah inshallah keep your parents for you if they are alive. But if you go back to your home where your father used to live, say, my father made this, for example, room, he painted here, he made this, table for us, we used to sit here for breakfast. Everything reminds you of your father or your mother. Yeah? So a mu'min, wherever he goes, he's reminded of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Allah made this flower for me. Allah made, these children for me. Allah has given me these friends. Allah has given me honor. Allah has given me health. Allah has given me this eye, this ear. So everything is more enjoyable for you. When you eat bread, please, from now on, change your attitude if your attitude has not been like this. Anything that you eat, you see, spend some time on reflecting. Don't just quickly eat food or drink. Look at how this is produced and cooked and now is available for you. First of all, how many people have worked on this? For a soil that is used, for example, for growing, wheat, if I'm not mistaken, I think every gram or something, it takes 300 years or something like this to become soil for farming. It's not easy to have a soil. Then growing, the farmers who have worked, then to make it flour, then someone who has made the bread. So it's not easy. Take it seriously. Sometimes I think the way we treat objects around us is very disrespectful. Why? Because it's like, for example, I go to a place, there are 30, 40 people, I don't greet anyone. And I just do my job quickly and go out. This is not respectful. When you go to a park and you see trees and gardens, greet them. And greeting them is by acknowledging that they are creatures of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Respect them. When food is come, fruits, there is a tray of fruits, apple, orange, grape. Respect each of them. Each of them is a blessing, is a jewelry. It's not easy, don't take them for granted. Just think how they have been created. So, a moment has endless reasons to enjoy his life. Endless reasons to enjoy your life. It's not the moment doesn't, enjoy his life. But he knows that his greater pleasure still has not come. A person told Imam Hassan alayhi salam, he was very poor and Imam Hassan alayhi salam was in a very good condition. He said, you say dunya is sajnul moment, but look at your situation and my situation. I am poor, you have, for example, horse, you have, good dress, you have position. So Imam Hassan alayhi salam, according to this hadith, told him, what I am going to have and what I have now is the reason why dunya is sajnul moment. Because I am in a situation which is much less than what I am going to have in future. But for you, this is like a palace compared to what you are going to have, for example. So, I am explaining, I'm not saying the exact word of Imam, I'm just explaining the concept. So, Mu'min can be very much enjoying his life in dunya, but still he knows that the greatest part has not yet come. This is like just a trailer. The greatest part is coming. Like, they show you a trailer of the holiday resort that you are going to be there. You enjoy looking at trailer, but you are not yet there. When you go there, you enjoy more. So, this is a very important discussion. I just made it very short. That why some people are worried about this. It can be because they are attached to dunya. It can be because they are worried about what they have done for their akhirah. And I gave you a test. After death, then there is barzakh. And barzakh in Arabic means gap or interval. مرج البحرين يلتقيان بينهما برزخ لا يبغيان. Two seas or oceans that come next to each other, but they don't mix because there is a gap. This dunya is not connected to akhirah directly. It's not that when we die, quickly, there is day of judgment. There is a gap. There is another world that we go. That is called barzakh. And the reason is that Muslim scholars were inspired by this ayah, Surah Mu'minun, ayah 100. حتى إذا جاء أحدهم الموت 99 and then 100. حتى إذا جاء أحدهم الموت قال رب ارجعون لعلي أعمل صالحا فيما تركت. When their death comes, says, please, my Lord, send me back so that I do something good with what I have left. Then Allah says, كلا إنها كلمة هو قائلها ومن ورائهم برزخ إلى يوم يبعثون. And in front of them